السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله. Today we are going to take our story. We're going to talk about it. Take care. We have a drama. This is in the AL, and we have OL story. This is the OL story. Okay. Take care that the story in the exam is not going to come as a complete question and answer. No, it's going to come. You have to study the vocabulary. He can bring you. He can ask you about the vocabulary of the story. Okay, but it doesn't have a section in the OL exam. Maybe this year the specification is going to change. We don't know. Okay. Our story is called Treasure Island. It's by Robert Louis Stevenson. Robert Louis Stevenson. Okay. It's for the first term and the second term. Treasure Island. Okay. This is the cover. What do you think about this cover and the title? Here we have a boy and we have a big man. He has a parrot on his shoulder. He's standing on a crutch. Okay. He's wearing like what? He's wearing what? Which clothes? Pirate's clothes. Okay. And this one, no, he's a normal boy. It's like a boy who's working on a ship. Treasure Island. So the story is talking about treasure and an island that has a treasure on it. So maybe there is a map and there are pirates, good pirates, bad pirates, or bad officials, and so on. Chapter 1. Jim Hawkins. When you find this, Jim Hawkins, a name and 2 dots, and he's going to write, this is a diary. So Jim Hawkins wrote this. Jim Hawkins, I'll start by writing about the time when my father owned an inn called the Admiral Benbow. Many years ago, I remember the day when a man walked into the inn. He was tall and strong, with an old blue coat and a scar on his face. He looked around him. This is a nice, quiet place, and stay here. Please take this up to my room, he said, pointing to a large wooden box. You can call me Captain, and this is for you, he continued, handing my father 3 or 4 gold coins. The captain was usually a quiet man. He spent his days walking on the beach or on the cliffs. When he came back, he always asked, did any sailors visit the inn today? At first, we thought he wanted to find some other sailors. But later, we realized that he didn't want any sailors to find him. Remember when we said the story, it will come as a vocabulary, so a vocabulary test. So what's the meaning of scar? Scar, it's a mark remaining on the skin after injured tissue has healed. I cut my hand using the knife, making salad or something. So it left scar, means after the cut is healed, there is a remaining mark, okay? So Jim Hawkins is our hero. Of course, the story is not like this. Robert Louis Stevenson, he wrote the story. It's a very big story. This is just an extract. It's a summarize of the story to be taught in the schools. So Jim Hawkins is our hero. Okay. He's writing in his journal. He's saying that one day some sailors came into our inn. The inn was owned by his father. The name of the inn is Admiral Benbow. Okay, the Admiral Benbow, many years ago. That means he's alive. Okay, so what happened after that? He came, he had a scar on his face, and he said, this is a nice, quiet place. So he was looking for a nice and quiet place. Why? Why do you think he's running from something? Maybe. Maybe no. Maybe he likes the quiet. He said, call me captain and take this to my room. He had a large wooden box. Call me captain. And he gave his father 3 or 4 gold coins. Big amount of money. He was a quiet man. He liked to stay in his room, and at the morning he used to take walks on the beach or on the cliffs. When he came back every day, when he's not here, when he's away from the inn, he comes and he asks, did any sailors visit the inn today? Okay. Okay. In the evenings, the captain sometimes told stories about his time at sea. My father was worried that nobody would want to visit the inn because they would be frightened by the captain's stories. But I think people liked them. The captain stayed at the inn for months. He didn't give us any more money for his room, and my father didn't dare to ask him for more. So the captain stayed there every evening. He stayed and he started talking about his stories and what he faced in the sea. Okay? Jim's father thought that these stories was scary and they were frightening all the customers. No one will come to the inn anymore. But Jim had another opinion. He thought that people liked the stories. Why? His father looked at his point of view. He's worried about his inn and his income, customers. This man is saying very scary stories, so he didn't dare to ask him for more money. He was frightened from him. Okay, the captain stayed for months, but no one asked about him, and he didn't pay any more money. His father, Jim's father, didn't ask him for any. One morning, the captain went for a walk along the beach. I was helping my mother to make breakfast when another man walked into the inn. He was thin and pale, with 3 fingers in his left hand. He sat down and asked, is this table here for my friend Belle? Now, everything will change. The quiet will end. The nice, quiet atmosphere will end. One morning, the captain went for a walk. While he wasn't in the inn, someone came and asked about him. Asked about someone called Belle. Who asked about him? Someone who's thin, pale, and had 3 fingers in his left hand. I told him that I didn't know Belle. I said that the table was for the captain. Well, my friend Belle might say that he's the captain, he said. He has a scar on his face and likes to tell a story. Is that him? Yes, I said. He's gone for a walk. Which way did he walk? I pointed toward the beach. The man stood up and waited by the door for the captain to return. Okay? So what the meaning of inn, it's like a lodge establishment for lodging and entertaining travelers. Lodging for staying and sleeping the night, maybe one night, maybe a month. Okay, it's like a very small hotel. Okay, and it has like a small restaurant, very small. You can say it's a restaurant. It can give you sandwiches, something like that, like a diner. What the meaning of dare? Have the courage to do something, to be courageous to do something. Have the courage to do something. Pale, light in color. When I say, what happened? You look pale. It's like there's no blood in your face. Your face is white. When the captain saw the man, he looked pale and ill. So the captain was running from something. He didn't want anyone to find him. Black dog? The captain said. So the man, the thin, pale man with 3 fingers in his left hand is called Black Dog. That's right, he replied. I have found my friend Belle. We have had a lot of adventures since I lost these fingers. I left them to talk. Then suddenly there were loud shouts, and both men stood up and ran outside. Both of them ran outside. The captain had a sword, and then I saw Black Dog running away with blood in his arm. The man continued running until we could not see him. Something happened in his room, in the captain's room. Bill heard the captain and the man and Black Dog fighting and shouting, and suddenly both of them went running. Okay? Black Dog ran away, and the captain ran after him. Black Dog had blood in his arm, and the captain had a sword and blood on the sword. The captain walked back into the inn. He looked in, and suddenly he fell over. I thought perhaps he was hurt from the fight. At that moment, the doctor arrived to see my father, who was sick. So Jim's father was sick. Help us, Dr. Livesey. The captain is hurt, said my mother. The doctor looked at him and said, he's not hurt, but he's very ill. Help me to take him upstairs. We took the captain up to his room, his bedroom, and the doctor gave him some medicine. The captain stayed in the bed, but he wasn't quiet. He told me about his travels at sea and said that he had something which people wanted. So what happened here? Black Dog found the captain, they fought together, and the captain injured Black Dog, and when he came alone, he fell. When the doctor looked at him, he said he isn't injured, but he's ill, so very sick, and he had to stay in bed. Black Dog is not as bad as some of the other men, he said. They all want to find me. Tell me if you see them. That evening, my father died. I felt terrible and forgot all about the strange things that the captain told me. Then a week later, I saw a blind man coming down the road towards the end. He stopped outside the door when he was near and asked, "Where am I? Will a kind person help me?" "You are at the Admiral Benbow in Black Hill Cove," I told him. At that moment, he grabbed my hand. "Take me to the captain," he said. "Take me to him now." I walked with the blind man into the inn and took him to the captain. The captain looked very surprised to see him. "Now, Bill, stay where you are. I can hear you. Take this." He then put something in the captain's hand, turned it around and left. The captain looked at what the man gave him. 10 o'clock, he said, "I have time." Then the captain suddenly fell to the floor. He was dead. What happened? In the same time, when the captain got ill, Jim's father died. Okay? So Jim forgot about everything, about the stories that the captain used to tell, and Black Dog and the fight and everything. He forgot everything. He was sad because his father died. Then a week later, he saw a blind man walking. He asked for his help. When he knew that he was at the Admiral Benbow, he grabbed Jim's hand and told him, "Grab, take something by sudden motion. Take something suddenly. Take me to the captain." When he was at the captain, when the captain saw him, he was very surprised to see him. But the blind man said, "What? Bill, stay where you are. I can hear you. Take this." And he gave him a paper. What was the paper? What was written in the paper? 10 o'clock, he said. So when the captain saw 10 o'clock, he said, "I have time." But he had no time because he fell on the floor and he died. I found my mother and we talked about what we should do. When the captain died in front of Jim ran quickly and sought his mother. When he found her, told her what happened, and they discussed what should we do. We knew that the captain had a box in his room, and it probably had money in it. The blind man and black dog probably wanted this. I thought about taking the box to Dr. Livesey, but I didn't want to leave my mother. We knew that we were in danger. We decided to go to the nearest village and ask our neighbors for help guarding the inn. So they went to the captain's room, they searched his stuff, he owed them money. He stayed for months and he didn't give him any money. So they started searching his stuff in his box. And Jim knew that he had in the box something, some paper and something that the virus is searching for. So he thought that I should take this box and go to Dr. Livesey. But he didn't want to leave his mother. If they are in danger, anything can happen at any time. However, none of the people in the village wanted to help us. He thought that I should go to the nearest village and ask someone come and guard and protect the inn, but no one wanted to help with them. They were afraid. They didn't come back with us. But one man went to tell Dr. Livesey. Another man said that we could have his gun. The people in the village said this is pirate stuff. We don't engage ourselves with this. They were afraid about themselves. But one of the men said, I will help you. How? I will go to Dr. Livesey and will tell him everything. Another man gave Jim a gun. It was dark when we returned to the inn. We found the key to the box in the captain's jacket. I also saw the message that the blind man gave to the captain. It said, you have until 10 o'clock tonight. And the meaning of guard to protect. We went upstairs and my mother soon opened the box with the key. Inside, we found some clothes, some guns, some papers, and other things. We also found a bag with some coins inside. We only have time until 10 o'clock, I said. Let's leave before the blind man and black duck return. I will only take the money which the captain owes us, my mother said, opening the bag. So when she opened the box, she took the money that the captain owed them, and they left the rest of the money. We stood up to leave, and I decided to take the papers from the box too. We walked as quickly as we could back towards the village. But as we walked, we heard the sound of people in the road behind us. Take the money and run, said my mother. I am too weak to continue. So when they took the money that they owed, that the captain owed them, Jim took the paper from the box. They wanted to leave. We started leaving, but while they were leaving, they heard noise. They heard noise behind them. They are headed to the village, but the mother and Jim, but they heard noise. People are going to the inn. So the mother, she was weak. Take the money and run, said the mother. I am too weak to continue. I can't continue. I didn't want to leave her, so we stopped under a bridge where we could hide in the dark. They stopped and they went under a bridge to hide from the men. Okay, chapter 2. These are questions about chapter 1. Why did the captain want to stay in quiet inn? Why? Easy, because there are some people who are running after him and they want something from him. Why do you think the captain didn't want any sailors to see him? Why? Because he's running from them. He's running, he doesn't want anyone to know his place. In your opinion, what happened between the captain and Black Dog? What do you think happened? Did the captain kill Black Dog? They had an argument. They fought. About what? Okay, in your opinion. What did the blind man give the captain? He gave him a paper. What's written in the paper? You have till 10 o'clock. Why did the people in the village not want to help Jim and his mother? Why? Maybe they were afraid. Maybe. Maybe they didn't have enough guns. Maybe they were selfish. What do you think will happen next in the story? What do you think will happen? Do you think the pirates will find Jim and his mother? They will take him as a hostage? Maybe. Maybe Dr. Livesey and men from the village will come and help them, save them. Maybe. Maybe they will burn the inn. Maybe the pirates will take the box. They are not going to look in it and take it and go. We don't know. Let's see. I could see the road from where we were hiding, and soon I saw 8 men. One of them was the blind man. I saw them walk down the road to the Admiral Bamboo Inn. They were surprised to see that the door was open. Then they all ran inside. I heard someone shout, "Bill's dead." So there were 8 men. They went to the Admiral Bamboo and they found the door open. They started to search everywhere until we heard someone said, "Bill is dead." "Go and find his box," said the blind man. A little later, a window opened from the captain's bedroom and a man called out, "Someone has opened the box." Is it there? Is it there? What do you think they are searching for? What do you think they are searching for? Is it there? Said the blind man. Only the money is there. So there were clothes, money, and paper. The mother took the money they owed them. The captain owed them. And Jim took some papers. So they are searching for the papers. What's in the papers? Let's see. Replied the man. Only the money is there. They are not searching for the money. They are searching for the paper. It's the boy and the woman from the inn, shouted the blind man. Let's find them. The men started to look around the house. If you find it, you will all be rich, said the blind man. At this time, we heard horses coming down the road. When the men heard the horses, they started to run in all directions. Sorry. The horses arrived, so I ran out to see who was riding them. One of them was the boy. He went to get Dr. Livesey, and the rest were policemen. 2 men took my mother to the village, where she soon felt better, and the others tried to catch the men. But it was too late. We heard that they escaped on a boat. So the police tried to run after the pirates, but they escaped on a boat. I returned to the Admiral Bamboo with the police. What did they want? Said Mr. Dance, the head of the police. Head of the police, chief of the police. I think that they wanted this, I said, showing him the papers that I still had in my jacket. I would like to take them to Dr. Lively. That's a good idea, said Mr. Dance. He's a magistrate as well as a doctor. He will know what to do. I will come with you. What the meaning of magistrate? It's like a judge. It's someone from the government. They put in small villages to run the law. Escape means get away. Head of the police means chief of the police. Magistrate, an official entrusted with administration of the laws. Okay, he enforced the law. Okay, what happened here is that the pirates didn't find the papers. They knew that the mother and Jim took the papers, but the police came at this time with Mr. Dance. So they ran away and they escaped from the island on a boat. Okay. The police, Mr. Dance, the head of the police, he thought, what did they want? Why did they attack you? Jim said, I know what they are looking for. I think that they are looking for this paper. And I thought that I should give this paper to Dr. Livesey. So Mr. Dance said, yes, it's a very good idea. we should give it to him because he also is a magistrate, like the judge of the town. We found that Dr. Livesey was not at home, but was eating at the house of Mr. Trelawney, an important rich man. Mr. Trelawney asked us into his house. He invited us into his house. He welcomed us. I showed Mr. Trelawney and Dr. Livesey the papers that the captain had in his box. I think this might be a clue as to where Flint buried his treasure. So, the captain that was staying in the Admiral Bamboo, his name was Flint, said Dr. Livesey. I think this might be a clue as to where Flint buried his treasure. He was a running away captain who had a treasure, buried it, and no one knows where. And the map is with Jim right now, or with Dr. Livesey. That's why those men were not interested in money, agreed Mr. Trelawney. If you are right, we should take the next boat from Bristol and go and find the treasure ourselves. So Mr. Trelawney had an opinion. What was his opinion? To go and search for the treasure and take it for themselves. What did the doctor say? If Jim here agrees, said the doctor, looking at me, we should look at this paper now. The doctor looked at the papers. Some of them seemed to describe the ships that the captain and his men had robbed of money. Then we looked at the other papers and saw a map of an island with a big cross on it to the words, most of the treasure here. So they asked Jim if they should go and hunt for the treasure, so he said yes. They looked at the paper. What was the paper? What was in the paper? Some papers was to describe the ships that the captain and his crew robbed of money, stole the money from them. And they had some other papers. Some of the papers had a map of an island. This island had a big cross in a certain place and written most of the treasure is here. Dr. Livesey, we should go to Bristol tomorrow, said Mr. Trelawney. In a few days, we will find the best ship in England. Jim Hawkins here can come as our ship's boy. You can be the ship's doctor. So Mr. Trelawney said, we will go and hunt for the treasure. All of us will go. I will support the island, the journey. I will pay for the ships and everything. And in few days, we will sail for this island to find the treasure. Dr. Livesey will come as a doctor, and Jim can come as the ship's boy. I agree, said the doctor, but those men who tried to find the map will now be looking for us. We are not safe anymore. We must not tell anyone else what we know. We should be discreet. We shouldn't say anything to anyone. Who said this? The doctor. What's the meaning of clue? Clue is something that guides through a procedure or maze of difficulties. A clue when you find something that tells you what you should do, or like evidence of something. Bury, to dispose of something in the earth, and drop off, to take something away from somebody by force, to steal something. It took us longer than we thought to be ready to leave England. While Mr. Trelawney prepared for the journey in Bristol, I stayed at Mr. Trelawney's house with his servant, Rudolph, and spent hours studying the map, thinking about the treasure that we might find. One day, a letter was sent to me from Mr. Trelawney. It said that a good man called Blandly had a ship called the Hispaniola for us. Trelawney said that he had found a crew ready to work on it. So they said we should sail in a few days, but this didn't happen. They went to Bristol. Jim stayed at Mr. Trelawney's house there with his servant. His name was Rudolph. Okay. waiting for Mr. Trenway and Dr. Livesey to find ship and crew. Jim used to stay and study the map as much as he can. Then one day he had a letter came from Mr. Trenway that they found a ship called the Hispaniola, and he found a crew. The crew included a man called Long John Silver, who had lost a leg but was a good cook. Silver also knew other men who would join us. Trenway said that everyone was excited by the thought of the treasure. I was surprised by this, as I thought we had to keep the news of the treasure a secret. So, is the treasure a secret anymore? No. Who are they going to meet? Someone called Silver, Long John Silver, who has lost a leg. Okay. I was very excited by the thought of the journey, and I went to say goodbye to my mother at the Admiral Benbow Inn. I was very sad to leave her the next day. When I traveled to Bristol with Rudolph, we had just one night in the city before we were going to sail. So, Bismillah, Dr. Livesey and Trenway was in Bristol, and Jim stayed in Mr. Trenway house in the Admiral Benbow, near Admiral Benbow, through a band of force of armed men. Okay, let's stop here. Good luck and see you next time. If you have any questions, just write them for me, and see you next time, inshallah.